Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Gruesome's Garage. I wanted to give a little bit of an update on the 383 stroker project, the Pontiac engine that I'm working on. I've had a viewer, Anthony, he's been watching the 350 disassembly videos, and I apologize, Anthony, those videos are painful to watch. That was when I was first starting out on making the videos, and I could have used some better techniques there, but you got through them. Thank you. So I'm going to give him an update and the whole channel an update. This is where we're at with this engine right now. Got a lot of parts accumulated for it. These are the pistons I'm going to be using. These are probe forged pistons, 30 over. So it's 3.905 bore for our 350 Pontiac. Full floating pins. Spear locks are in the box inside. Forged pistons, and they are like the holy grail for Pontiac. They are very tough to find forged pistons for a 350 Pontiac if you don't have them custom made. Those pistons were actually part of a kit made back in the 2000s. There was a guy, Pacific Performance Racing or something like that. I can't remember. Ace Brewer was the guy's name. He's the one that actually devised the 383 stroker using a 350 Pontiac. He had a kit that he sold, and I believe his kit had a cast crank, but other than that, it's similar to what I'm putting together. Those pistons are something that he sold, so they're new old stock. He was selling those for quite a while. He did actually, Steve Magani did a magazine article on it, and I guess they got some good numbers out of it. They got one 462 horsepower, and then they did a version with like just plain number 17 heads and a milder cam, and they got like 371 on that. And both times the torque was well into the 400 foot-pounds range. So they could be a potent little engine. Unfortunately, I think he was trying to challenge Butler at the time, as you know, one of the main Pontiac engine guys around. But somewhere along the line, he lost interest, and last I knew, he was growing organic food out in California. Go figure. So we got the pistons, and we got these guys. These are a big block Chevy rod, actually. They're an Eagle rod, 6.8 inches. ARP rod bolts. Obviously full floating pins. They're 4340, so they're a good strong rod. I didn't go with the H-beam because I did not think it was needed in this application. This isn't going down a drag strip. It's going to be a street car. So I think we already got a forged crank, forged rods, forged pistons. It's going to be a pretty strong bottom end. Here's the balancer I got. Power bomb balancer. Look it over, it's a pretty nice piece. You want to make sure you're running a good balancer on your engine. That wasn't too bad. It was like $140, I believe, through Summit. I got my using Total Seal piston rings. These are the plasma molly rings. They're what Ace Brewer used in his build. And then over here, I got Seal Power main bearings. And then I used to use these a lot with the Clevite. These were a good bearing back in the day. One thing I did notice, where is it on the box? They're made in Brazil. They weren't made in Brazil last time I used these. Or the global economy. But I think they'll be a good fit for the engine. It's going to be balanced, obviously. And one thing I'm having issue with right now is I've talked to a machine shop. They're willing to do the work, 30 over, do the balance work. He does not have a torque plate. Most of the machine shops I have talked to do not have Pontiac specific torque plates. I'm probably going to end up having to buy one. That is a big hit for something I'm probably only ever going to use once. However, I don't want to have I don't want the motor bored over without a torque plate. I've actually bored engines. I used to do it years ago out to, I had a teacher in auto engines class, and he taught me how to run a quick way boring bar. And he had me doing his race engines. I got pretty proficient at it. So I understand the whole concept of boring with a torque plate. A low performance street engine, you do not need to use a torque plate. I used to bore plenty of 350 Chevys for guys out there that just were going to, use them in trucks and stuff. We never used a torque plate. They never had any issues with them. But for something like this, that every once in a while I am going to wind up, I want to make sure that everything is nice and concentric. So that's where we're at with the 383 Pontiac build. I'm going to get the block out here soon outside and clean it up, and then I'm going to run it to the machine shop. And I will let you know when I do that. Like I said, I do need to get a torque plate. I do have one lined up. There's a guy on eBay out of Canada that sells them for $400 and change. It's expensive, but I have seen prices as high as $600-700. So you got to pick your poison. If I had access to a milling machine, I would just make one myself. I would take a pattern off one of the cylinder heads I have and just make one. But I don't have that access, so that's where we're at. Have a great day and God bless.